What's good, guys? My name is Merlin Joshi, and today I'm going to show you how to make a bass that I think sounds a bit like something that Fox Stevenson would make. So without further ado, here's the track I made. It's not quite done yet. And yeah, here you go.
Either it's nothing or it's everything. I cannot see that in between. If I ain't a peasant, I better be a king, 'cause I won't settle on the dream. Yeah!
So that's the song. Obviously, very took a lot of inspiration from Fox Stevenson, as you can probably hear. So here's the bass by itself. Basses, I should say. And here's the other bass. Very similar, of course. So let's jump right into how this bass was made. Let's turn off all the post-processing first. And let's go get a clean version. I'm going to turn off the sub for this right now. This is how the sound started out, right here. Incredibly boring, wouldn't you say? So, first of all, LFO1 is modulating the volume of this guy. Next thing I did when I was making the bass, I added a higher frequency, a very higher frequency. Started with a sine wave, then I went to basic shapes, and I crossfaded and normalized the waveform so that we have some basic shape type waveform right here. And LFO1 is modulating position of that, FM from A for oscillator B, and the volume for oscillator B. We can remove the sub because the sub's not on. So pretty much this bass is all attached on the idea that if you distort two sounds, one really, really low, the low frequency, and the really, really high frequency, sorry for that one, guys, it will sound pretty cool. That's pretty much what dubstep was built on, the cooker sound. And this is what, you'll know it when you hear it. This one's a bit crazier because of the basic shape thing, of course, but the idea is still there. The first thing I did after adding this guy was put a filter on it, a little bit of resonance, and LFO1 is hitting the frequency. This brings us to a bit more of a cookery sound and a little less intense, and it tames the high end, I'll tell you that much for sure. And then I cut out the lows because the lows were nasty as heck. My computer is not liking that I'm recording right now, guys. I'll apologize for that now. Next thing I did was I added a compressor. So as you can hear, obviously it's getting compressed. And then I added the dimension expander, which is a small size and higher mix, of course. And then I added some very quick delay, which are just all pretty much standard things, in my opinion, for making sounds metallic. And then this guy to soften up the high end just a little more. And yeah, the chorus was doing that. So, moving on. Actually, no, not moving on. I lied. So, LFO2 is modulating the master tuning, as you can see here. It's modulating by 1, I think, a factor of 1. It's going both ways, and it's being aux sourced by macro 1. So that's what macro 1 is doing, and that's macro 1 right here. As you can hear the vibrato come on. Can't do vibrato very well. But, you know what I can do very well? Nothing. That's right. Next thing I did was I added an EQ just to boost the low mids a little bit. And just give it a little bit more shine. Next thing I did was added a reverb. Now this reverb isn't being used all the time. It's only being automated a couple of times. So here's what it sounds like with the reverb automation. Not really too much going on in the reverb. It's just kind of standard. I do have a high cut though. So the next thing I added was a Serum FX, which is literally only automating the dimension mix. So it can just sound... I'm pointing at the screen as if you can see it. Whoops. So whenever this guy comes off, you can hear how it's kind of wider just for that 1 second, and that's just in my mind to keep it less bland during the drop, to keep the sound changing and whatnot. And then I compressed it. This one's a pretty standard, this one's just, it's not even, what am I trying to say? It's not even a multi-band at this point. I'm just using the master band. It's just for sausaging, and this one's really for sausaging, but this one's sausage on a per band basis. You can see here, this guy is pretty important for when the other basses are involved as well, because it keeps them sounding all kind of similar because they're all under a similar compression. So that's that. The lower bass, on the other hand, the only difference between the high bass and the low bass is this guy, is this octave. This guy's octave is at +1. This is the high bass, and the low bass octave is at 0. So that gives it a completely different timbre. And what I've found is that I'm pretty sure +2 works too, but I don't think I ever used it. Yeah, it's a little too high if you go to +2. However, if you could make it work, you can make it work. And yeah, that's the bass. The only other thing is the sub, which is just pretty much just a saw wave and some noise, and I scooped out the mids and I distorted it a little bit, and then I EQ'd the heck out of it. That really clicky sub, I'd say. Clicky in a weird way though. So yeah, that's the whole sound. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you'd like to see a video of me explaining how to make a song like Fox Stevenson, as if I'm qualified to do so, press that like, maybe leave a comment. I'm cool with it. And yeah, here it is again. Can't hear a thing. I'll see you guys next time. I love y'all.